Well, from the Skyview Motorsports desk, I'm Ray J. Akers. With me, hard card member Steve Schweitzer, the Lasco Press, Kelly Crandall, and also from Kicking the Tires, Jerry Jordan. Coming right up, let's talk first off in our very first episode, the Chicago Street Race, the third edition. Now it's been won twice by Shane Van. I always want to call him Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG. I got to do it like everybody else does. Anybody want to take this one? You were at the race, right, Kelly?
I was, yeah, third year in a row that I'd gone to Chicago because it's been such a really cool event. And I thought it was really cool how NASCAR's tried to put on this street course event. So I was there over the weekend. I think it's funny that maybe 3 years in, there's still some folks that can't pronounce Shane Van Gisbergen, but I think a
I
lot of us
can't.
have caught up and figured it out now. But just an absolute masterclass once again. So I don't think anybody is surprised this week of what we saw.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, I can pronounce it. I have trouble spelling it, so it's SVG to me. But yeah, he ran a great race. Man, he knows his way around that course for sure. Of course, he won, the pole for Saturday, and Saturday's race on top of it. Awesome weekend for him.
Jerry.
Well, I mean, yeah, he won. He had a dominant performance, but I think people are leaving out the fact that Michael McDowell did pass him. He was holding him off, and going into this weekend's race, McDowell's like, hey, I'm not gonna just lay over. So I think there's some competition. If McDowell's cars hold together and they don't break, this is going to be a good little battle, going forward.
Yeah, in just a little bit, we're going to talk about Sonoma and seeing if we can have some carryover performances. But, in that race, as you mentioned, Jerry, McDowell actually led 31 laps of the 90, and then SVG, he led 26 laps. There were only, I think, 5 different leaders in the entire race. So, I mean, this kind of went like a road course. Was it too tight in places, you think, Kelly?
It certainly looks that way, but I mean, a lot of the drivers in NASCAR, I mean, there really hasn't been, I would say, big overall complaints about the course. Over the last 3 years, for me, I've heard a lot of praise that it's a pretty decent course for being a street course. And you have to remember, there's only so much NASCAR can do if you're up against sidewalks and buildings and monuments and the way that the location of where that course is. So that I felt like was talked about more in year one of whether or not the course was good or not, if there needed to be changes. And I really haven't heard, big complaints over the last 2 years. So it is tight. I mean, listen, it's a street course, right? So it doesn't have a lot of runoff areas. There are walls on both sides. There's going to be tire barriers. You have to do things in the interest of safety. But that's what makes it different from road courses that these guys are used to, is because, as I said, you don't have those runoffs. You don't have grass or just rumble strips that you can run over. You have to be much more disciplined on a street course, and your car has to survive as well. We saw some issues with guys who, if they had failures, there's nowhere to go. There's a lot of consequences at a place like this. So, yeah, visually it looks tight. It's very closed in. It can make you feel claustrophobic, but that's really what a closed-in street course is.
And with that, what I'd like to do right now is we'd like to get the owner. We want to get Justin Marks on. Justin, taking a look at this from an owner's perspective, SVG, he certainly ruled the roost in this particular race. He controlled a lot of intangibles. What do you think after watching him race this weekend and winning and sweeping both races? As an owner, you must be very proud. And how else can you brag on him?
Well, I mean, for me, in my experience driving race cars for 20 years, it's his racing IQ. It's how strategic he can think while he's on the limit of the race car. A lot of drivers, it takes all of your mental bandwidth to drive the car fast. And Shane's one of these guys that can drive the car at the limit, but be thinking bigger picture stuff. So he knows where he is in the race. And he knows how to, he's great at managing his tires, his equipment, all that kind of stuff. Plus, I think for his talent profile specifically, street races are just, they come very, very naturally to him. He's got a lot of experience doing it in the V8 Supercar series. But I think really in races like this where everybody is working so hard just to get the apexes and get out of the corner the right way and all that, he does that just naturally while he's thinking about bigger picture stuff, so he can really put the whole race together in a super impressive way.
And so with that, any comments from anybody on Justin Marks and what makes Shane so good at the streets of Chicago?
I mean, he's good everywhere that you turn right. I mean, he hadn't proven himself going just left, but when he turns right, he's good. I mean, he's got a history of that overseas. That's what they race over there. Ovals are not the norm in the rest of the world. That's just, stock car racing on ovals and racing in general on ovals around the world is not a thing. So we kind of got that, to ourselves over here in America.
And to Kelly's point, I think NASCAR did a great job when they laid out that circuit. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to pass. Yeah, she's right. It's tight, but that makes for some really good racing. We saw a great battle between Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman for one of the advancement positions in the in-season bracket challenge. So there was a lot of good racing on the afternoon.
With that, Kelly, what did you think? What was the atmosphere of the concert? Was there a ton of fans there? Those are the things that you cannot see on TV. And of course, well, Zach Brown, they're gone by the race. But what did you think of as a reporter that took the whole thing in?
Well, I mean, for me, what was noticeable this year, and I had talked to Julie Giese about this going into Chicago last weekend, was some of the ways in which they tried to make the footprint more efficient for race fans, putting things closer together so it's not such a long walk from all of the main attractions, whether it's the stage, the things that you can do in the park. And even this year, I know Jerry and I had talked about it, is when you walk up Monroe Street to get to the footprint, to get to where you can go into the park or even into the NASCAR garage area where they had that set up, there was more there for the fans this year. There was merchandise trailers, there was the big NASCAR experience sign with the stock car out there folks can take pictures with. So as far as the atmosphere, I think this year, like the past 2 years, I think it was great. There are people everywhere. I don't know what that translates to ticket sales, but as far as foot traffic and what you could visually see as I was out and about and walking from the hotel to the track or walking from, again, entrance point to the garage to the media center, there's a ton of people. And you can tell the lifelong NASCAR fans that are there versus folks who look like they're wearing something new because they're getting into it, or folks that had no merchandise on and they're coming and they're interested and they're just trying to get peeks into the garage and see the race cars. So I think that is what has separated this event the last couple years from other NASCAR events, is that event type feel. It's been a big deal. It's been really exciting. So I think the atmosphere has been great.
Any other comments?
It didn't rain.
Yeah, it didn't rain. Unlike the first year when it, we had, Noah, paddling down the front stretch. But no, it was a good race. I am mixed. I've had a good time every year that I've gone to Chicago because it's a great city. There's great people there. The race has been as good as it could be depending on the situation. I think though it's time to move on. I think we should probably go to San Diego or go to Denver or Philadelphia or wherever else in the world NASCAR is thinking about looking. And then maybe we come back and we visit them like a relative. There was one of the local columnists in Chicago said that they want to break up with NASCAR. Well, I'm like, I found a pretty attractive girl down in Mexico at the course down there. So if I'm going to date a track that is goes left and right, then let's look at the people that really are excited to have us there. There were a lot of fans that were excited to have us there, but it's been tough to go to Chicago from a from a standpoint of the city, lightning holds, things like that. I just think, okay, we've done it, we've proven we can do it. Let's show everybody else how great NASCAR is in other parts of the country or the world.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call an audible right now. I was going to bring on SVG, but I think we'll do that in the second episode because Joey Logano talked to Jerry's point specifically and said that for the drivers, the fans, the NASCAR world, that they like to keep the schedule a little bit fresh. And I think let's see how close his opinion is to yours, Jerry. Let's see if Joey wants to move it around or stay in Chicago.
I think I'm always a big fan of going to new facilities because it's worked every single time. And I got to go back to just thinking about early in my career when we never did anything like this, right? I mean, it was the same schedule you guys remember, it was the same schedule every year for decades. Like nothing changed. A big change would be like moving a date a couple weeks from when it was, right? Like it wasn't changing anything. Now we're going to new venues, right? And you got to think of Road America. We're not too far from there. That was a huge success. The LA Coliseum, the first couple of years, huge success, right? So I think if you do it too long, it gets stale. I think there's tracks that are part of our roots that we must go to. But I think there's like a handful of tracks that should be kind of like maybe on a 3-year term kind of thing that can just move around, go to new places, right? I mean, look what happened at Bowman Gray this year. Huge success, new track. People love going to see something new, the unknown, right? The uncertainty of all the teams not knowing what to do. It's fun to watch. You have an idea now of what Chicago is going to look like. Right, we know what Richmond looks like. We know what Daytona is going to look like. When you go to a new facility, you don't know, right? What was Bowman Gray going to look like? We don't really know, right, until we get there. And so I think the newness is important to keep something like that going on in our schedule. That's just my opinion, though.
Joey Logano, I think he agrees with you, Jerry, and moving things around. I really got your perspective on this, Steve and Kelly. Take her away.
Well, I think that there's, I think Jerry does have a good point. I'd love to see a race staged somewhere else at a new part of the country. Denver, that'd be a great suggestion. I don't know, how the political winds blow there and whether or not it could be worked out, but on a maybe 2-year rotation basis, that sounds like a great idea to me.
Should it be like a Super Bowl type thing, Kelly? Like every year you kind of bid on it and get that, or do you want to go back to the Windy City and kind of keep it status quo?
I don't know if it has to be something, that has to be bid on or whatnot. I think NASCAR is trying to do that more with the championship race of rotating that every year. We know that they've already announced that. I have said for a while now when it comes to events like this, I think 3 years is a really good mark. And I know Chicago and NASCAR have 2-year options baked into the contract right now that they have to talk over. Maybe we do go back. Maybe it's on a different date. I think Chicago would love if it was not on 4th of July so they could really capitalize on that weekend for their city. But I think, as I said, I think 3 years is a really good kind of rotation for new places like this. We did that with LA. Chicago, we just got through 3 years because it's one of those things where I feel like it gives folks enough time that if they want to go see the event, they can go see it. But at that point, after 3 years, you can already start to feel it. We have a fan base and we have an industry that's, the attention span is okay. Well, after 3, I'm kind of ready now to see something else, right? And now you hear the rumors about San Diego or, what's the future of Mexico and all these places. So I kind of like those 2 to 3 year deals. As I said, it gives folks enough time to see it if they want to see it. And then by the time folks start getting bored and looking elsewhere, it's time to move on and try something else.
All right. So with that, let's wrap up this particular episode. Steve Schweitzer, the Lasco Press. Kelly Crandall, who are you writing for now? I didn't have it next to your name. I go ahead, tell us. We want to find out because we got to read you all the time, right?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. So racer.com is my primary day job, but I also freelance for ESPN occasionally on their NASCAR page. You can hear me on Sirius XM, NASCAR radio every so often. And let me plug that the official NASCAR cookbook is coming at the end of this year. So NASCAR Race Day Eats is available for pre-order. If you see me at the racetrack, you can come up. I got bookmarks with QR codes that are really cool for folks to check out as well. So I am all over the place.
That is awesome. And of course, we have Jerry Jordan from Kicking the Tires. Hey, Kelly, he gave the entire world his phone number the last time he was on. Do it again, Jerry.
It's easy. It's 409-498-1074. I have a question for Kelly. Have you cooked anything in your cookbook yet?
Not yet, but I will. Because listen, I think we're about to have a public recipe reveal to everybody. I think in August is what they're planning for. So I don't want to jump ahead and start giving things away. But once I physically have a copy of the book in front of me, when I can really dig in, yes, I plan on trying to get in the kitchen and have some fun.
Who's going to be your guinea pigs?
I guess me, and the husband. So wish us luck.
I'll come up and hang out. I want to see this.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to see happen is that, obviously, Kelly, we got to have you back on, and maybe we can all try our own recipe and kind of hold it up a little bit. And I think it would be awesome. And
hey, I'm all for any promotion of the cookbook that gets people to buy it. So yeah. I'm all for it.
Well, Kelly is such a great salesperson that I already pre-ordered her book 2 weeks ago at Echo Park. And then she says it's not coming out till October. And I'm like,
but you pre-order it, so now you don't have to worry. It's just going to show up.
I know it's going to show up one day, and then we're going to make sure we have you on there, and we're going to come hungry. We're going to come heavy and come hungry. So with that, we're going to have our second Zoomcast episode that comes up for you. So for Jerry, Kelly, and Steve, I'm Roy J. Akers. We'll see you in our next episode that will be coming up in the next day or so.
It means so much to you about being here in Chicago.
Yeah, epic weekend for us. I'm a lucky guy. I got to drive for two great teams in JR Motorsports and Trackhouse, and it just made my job easy. You know, we had great preparation, and my cars all weekend were excellent. And then today, you know, the strategy was a bit back and forth. I was probably a bit conservative at the start, and you know, not aggressive enough. But yeah, our pace was good, and then just believing in Steven, he did a great job on painting the picture on strategy again. And you know, even though we were a little bit out of sync, it was going to work out for the better. And yeah, had some really great battles at the end. The guys at the end I felt were really, really strong, but we probably had a tire advantage. So yeah, cool to win here again. I've had a great run at this place, and I really enjoy it.